Hello.
Hey guys,
How you doing today?
how are all y'all doing?
Welcome back to another Force of Will video.
It's a very sensual video.
Very sensual.
It's actually a pretty big event. I don't know if you guys noticed on our homepage there, but how many subscribers do we have now?
0. We hit the big 0 with the 6 in front.
We got hacked again. We lost all of our subscribers. If you're watching this, it's probably the end of the world.
Perhaps. Anyways, let's get going with the Loki deck.
Just as an aside, this confirms that the Japanese don't think that traps are gay. So let's just start with that, okay? Because Loki's a man. Everyone knows Loki's a man.
I'll just bring it up for you guys.
That's a man.
It's totally a man.
Okay.
It's a totally man. Ignore the lower half.
Well, wouldn't you want to ignore the upper half?
Fine, ignore everything. It's definitely a man. All right, and there's the other side. Okay, we'll ignore this half. Definitely a man.
Just look at the face. Look at the hat. The hat is definitely a man.
Alrighty. Okay, so welcome to Loki. What does Loki do? Okay. Divinity of 10, Judgment of 3. She's by far out of the new rulers. It's
He. Respect the pronouns.
Well, I guess it is 2018. Anyways, he has the lowest cost, judgment cost, out of any of the rulers right now. I think he's one of the lowest, isn't he?
Well, what's the cost?
3. 2 blue and 1 colorless.
Well, Lich is also 2 darkness and 1 colorless.
Oh, okay. So one of the lowest. Not the lowest, one of the lowest. Energize, and flipping over, the whole point of the deck is going to be the judgment. You may pay 2 colorless for awakening cost of a spells you control. If you awaken a spell multiple times, you may pay 2 less for each awakening. Where does this come in helpful? I will get to that in a second. However, the majority of this deck is actually spells. The point of this deck is I have multiple dinosaurs, and some of our viewers will be aware of that. As I pointed out, there was a little bit of hype with flying dinosaurs, and this deck is actually where it comes into play. However, in order for that to successfully be pulled off, if you don't have the right cards, you need to have a lot of field control. And the field controls comes from all the spell cards. First field control card is actually Lightning Cave. Non-water Jade resonators lose and cannot gain swiftness and flying. This actually fricks over a lot of red decks, a lot of darkness decks, especially for New Valhalla, a lot of the Fallen Angels, and a lot of the light deck, especially the Angels. The Angels just completely decimate them. However, the one thing you do need to be aware of, the reason why I run 3 of these is because in the light deck, there is only 1 rune which can cancel an addition and they gain health. But basically, you play this, they cancel the first one, gain health. You have still 2 more in your hand. And it's only a cost of 1.
Oh, what's the secondary ability there?
The secondary ability is the weather is rain until end of turn if you basically turn the card, or the weather is thunderstorm until the end of the turn. Play this ability only if the weather is rain. The second and third abilities are not essential to this deck. They are other decks, especially in I want to say the Rhea cluster, where there was a lot of fish that took advantage of the thunderstorm and rain ability. However, for this deck, we only want the first ability. That's all we care about. We do not want them to have swiftness, and we do not want them to have flying.
And how many of those do you run?
3.
Nice.
Okay, 3, so I'll put them down just a little bit. Next up, we have Spinning Arcosol. It's a quick cast, pull target chant from your graveyard into your hand. Basically, we are able to pull down any chance that we play. But I run 4 of these because I want to have as much field control as possible. Next card is, and I don't think I ordered this very well. I thought I did, but not quite. Next one. For cost of 2, we have Shayla's Foresight. Choose 1 if your Jade ruler is Shayla, or Shayla, the Mermaid Princess. Choose up to 3. Okay, I totally read that wrong. But anyways, okay, the 3 for us, because we're letting Loki, what we can choose from is put target attack and resonator on top of your owner's deck, or put target addition on top of the owner's deck, or target player shuffles all magic stones from their graveyard into the magic stone deck, then shuffles all other cards from their graveyard into their deck. Okay, so there's multiple ways of playing Shell as Foresight. Some of the ways I like playing it is either returning an attacking resonator to the top of the owner's decks, basically, again, field control, or because of the fact I run so little resonators in this deck, I can actually shuffle everything from my graveyard back into my own deck. Now, you do not need to do the first part of the ability, which is shuffle stones from your graveyard into your deck.
But that's where you're wrong, Nova. You don't know your own deck, young grasshopper. There is a reason that we will go over later that you'd want to shuffle stones back in.
I will get to that part. But however, we have to get to the resonator for that part. So keep that in mind, don't let me forget. I'm running 3 of these. Next up, I'm just gonna do this. And hopefully they can sort of be seen. Okay, next up we have Confinement. It is a quick cast and it has Remnant. Remnant means you can play it once more from your graveyard, or what I like to do is put it in my graveyard, bring it back with Spinning Aqua Soul, and then again, so you basically you can use it up to 3 times. Cost of 1. Target resonator can attack this turn. Again, screws over, field control. Running 3 of these. Next up is Shayla's Return. Quick cast. Return target resonator with a total cost of 4 or less to its owner's hand. Run 3 of these. More control, field control. So basically, my whole point is I'm gonna stall for as long as I can. And the way a lot of these work is, unless they have a specific rune card in order to kill my J Ruler, I can just any attacking resonator, I can just be like, you know what, you're not going to attack my J Ruler, have fun. There is another card I'm thinking of working in, but that's going to be in version 2 specifically for having to deal with attacking J Rulers. Basically, I think you might know the card Master feature. It turns any J Ruler into 100/100.
Yes.
With the exception of IU, and there's one more, Panda Guy.
Another one. It's I think it's like is it a 1-drop or a 3-drop?
I think it's a 3-drop.
It's a 3-drop, and then if you're using it on IO, it turns her into a 2020.
Yeah, 2020, which is ridiculous. Next up, we have Aberdonite, the Nitrogen Blade. It's a quick cast, cost of 1. Cancel target automatic ability of a resonator. If this card was awakened, destroy that resonator. Again, more field control. You can awaken it easily, especially if you have Loki flipped over. You awaken it for only cost of 2, and the card list gets used from Loki's ability, and it can destroy a target resonator. And it actually works on a lot of cards. For example, Azazel is one of them because it's an automatic ability upon entering. It works on any enter ability, correct?
Actually, this is a question I was going to pose to our fans. I mean, I'm probably going to look this up as soon as we're done recording this video, but
Yep.
They specifically made enter abilities now have the keyword enter.
Yeah.
So I'm not actually sure if enter qualifies as automatic anymore. I don't know.
The reason I could be wrong on this, and then please point it out if I am wrong on this. The reason I say it's, for my interpretation, it is still an automatic ability is because you pay for it. When you enter, is it not automatic?
That makes sense to me. But then why would they bother making enter a keyword?
The reason I say that it would make it enter a keyword is because most of the times you have to pay for that enter ability.
No, that's Awaken. You're thinking
that's
of
Awakening
ability. I'll look this up. Obviously, if we're big doofuses, I'll include it in the description of this
Yeah.
video or in the comments or something.
In which case, these might get thrown out. Anyways, I'm running 3 of these. So.
If they do actually include enter abilities and enter is still under the larger classification of automatic abilities, this card is actually ridiculously valuable because that pretty much tells your opponent, screw your Lorites.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right?
Pretty much. I
It's
agree.
like, oh, Lorite enters the field, it stops one of your enter
actually-
field abilities.
Here's an automatic ability.
Yeah, that's an automatic ability.
I would never use it on Skeleton Horde, but you can. If you do not want your opponent to have a second skeleton like token when it dies, you can automatically cancel this ability and kill that resonator.
Yeah, so if this thing would hit the grave, if you did the Nitrogen Blade on it, you wouldn't get the 1/1 token.
Exactly. Okay, up next is Optional Possession. And this right here, you may be wondering where all the flying creatures come into play. It is quick cast. Once again, it has Remnant. We choose one ability, choose Flying, Precision, or First Strike. Target J Resonator gains 200/200 and chosen ability until the end of the turn. The way I've been playing this, because it's so low of a cost, it only costs 1. You can actually buff up Loki as well if you do not want her dying. If you know your opponent is only about to do 1200 damage, for example, and they have no other you can kind of know, depending on their playstyle and how long you've been playing them against them, if they have any other abilities in their hand in order to buff up or quick cast type of things. So you can. It's a nice card, but I will show you a little bit later. I'm run 3 of these. I will show you a little bit later where these actually come in really, really helpful. Next up, Massive Growth. For a cost of 2, you may pay 1 less to play this card from a ruin area. Produce 3 water, spend this only to play Awakening cost. So basically you get 1 free Awakening. For a cost of 2, you get 3, so you get, I only run 2 of these, and kind of unfortunately showed something a little bit early. Just give me 2 seconds here, guys. Okay, now this next resonator, and by next resonator is the first resonator, comes into play as where Master Feature pointed out the stones. How do you pronounce this guy? Give me.
Hey.
Jormungandr? Jormungandr? Jormungandr. I can't figure out if it's like a Swedish / German thing or.
Well, I mean, considering it's based off of Loki, the trickster god of Norse mythology, it's probably meant to be Norse.
Okay. This card gains 500 for each counter on it. Whenever this card attacks, you may remove a gluttony counter from it. If you do, remove target resonator from your opponent's controls from the game. Again, more field control. Okay, first ability, Awakening cost of 2. Play this. This card enters the field with a growth counter. For an Awakening cost of 1 water, this card enters the field with a gluttony counter. Now, for Loki's ability, you can only pay 2 less of colorless. So you can, if you have Loki flipped over, you can only pay 1 and enter the field with a growth counter. However, you will have to pay another water in order to add the gluttony counter. The last ability, which is the most important one, which Master Fija pointed out, is banish a water magic stone, put a growth counter or gluttony counter on this card. Play this ability only once, only during your turn and only once per turn. So, where did you have the magic stone? Is this? No, it's not the one. Oh, you can banish any of them, can't you?
You can banish any magic stone.
Okay, so basically for magic stones, since this kind of comes up, is I'm running 4, 5, 6 regular magic stones.
Hey man, have some dignity. Those aren't regular stones. Those are special, awesome, mega, holographic great stones.
They have a dragon on though.
They do.
Yeah, so.
And dragons are pretty much dinosaurs.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that. Okay, and I'm running 4 of Magic Stone of Chaos. Produce 1 water, or if you turn it, banish this card, produce 2, spend this only to play Awakening cost. And because of Shayla's foresight, we can actually shuffle all of our stones back into the stone deck. However, you still have to draw them. They do not go onto the field directly. They go into your stone deck and you still have to draw them. So you still have to tap your ruler for them. So this deck is more of a mid-range, like 5. You either go for a big win at turn 4, turn 3 or 4, actually most of the time turn 4, or you play the long game. Okay.
One little interjection.
Yeah.
So for Jormungandr, you don't want to be sacking these stones though.
Agreed.
You want to be banishing these stones for its activate ability of banishing the stone to produce 2 blue for Awakening. So just sack your
these stones basically.
Stones.
This is the reason why you have 6 regular stones.
That and realistically, there's no other stone that would work well with this deck.
Exactly. Now, next up, we have 3 innocent looking little bugs. Lowly Spirit Bug. It is a cost of 1, 100 resonator. It gains swiftness. When this card enters the field, draw a card. Now, this might not seem like that big of a card, but I will explain to you once I get to the runes why this card can be quite scary.
For a second there, I was expecting you to sound like Morgan Freemaning. And the little spirit bug started its long, arduous journey to find a mate.
Okay. Next up, which is the whole game plan for this deck, is Dinosaur Surfacing. Cost of 1, Awakening of 3. You pay 2 less because of Loki, and spell multiple times. Okay, we're only playing one spell, so you pay 2 less. For a total cost, if Loki is left over, for a total cost of 3, search your deck for a dinosaur, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. We have 4 of these. The whole point of this deck is to play this card and be able to summon these big, lovely creatures right here. Mossasaurus. Mossasaurus? Mossasaurus?
Man, I thought I couldn't read.
I can't pronounce.
Mossasaurus.
Mossasaurus.
No. Mossasaurus.
Mossasaurus.
Oh.
I'm gonna go with that. There's 2 another Master Feature now. Okay, attack of 1500, defense of 100. When this card enters the field, choose 1. Destroy target resonator. Again, more control. Or
I'm pretty sure
3.
it's rested.
You're right, rested resonator. Okay, I still say more control. Or target 3 magic stones. Don't recover during their control's next recovery phase. If this card is played on turn 4. 3 of their stones do not recover. They only recover 1 stone, unless they have judgmented, in which case none of their stones recover. It is a very big resonator. It has a total cost of 5. However, we're going to be cheating it in and playing it for a cost of 3 only. Furthermore, it has 1500 and 1000 attack. Combined with something like optional possession, we can turn it into a flying or first strike or precision. Basically what we can do is we can turn it into flying and add another 200. So we can swing for flying Mossasaurus, 1700 attack. And the way this card works, because it has Remnant, you can actually play it twice during your own turn if you have the mana for it. So because Mossasaurus does not have swiftness, you'll have to wait for your next turn in order to be able to attack. So what you do is you can say, okay, you know what? I'm going to use flying, I'm going to use precision, or first strike if I'm swinging into a big resonator I want to kill, and I'm going to buff it up to 1700. And if I play it twice, it'll actually be jumped up to 1900 flying, which is ridiculous. Quite ridiculous. So actually I'm wrong. 4 of those, the reason I'm running 4 is because if I do not cheat it in, I can still play it.
Yeah, and with you stalling the game, like, even if you flip Loki on turn
early
3, by, like, turn 4, you can already play Mossasaurus for, like, decently cheap.
Okay, last resonator in this deck is Dino Rider. It is a fire dinosaur, cost of 6, 1400, 1400. Same deal applies with this. We're going to be cheating it in. We're going to be using Dinosaur Surfacing to cheat this card in. It is a dinosaur, obviously. Yes, I almost read that wrong.
Obviously, yes.
I almost read it wrong because I read the dragon thing first, and I'm like, uh-oh.
It's slash dinosaur, right?
Yeah, it's slash dinosaur. I read that first, I'm like, uh-oh, I've been playing this card wrong. Anyways, when this card enters the field, it'll deal 600 damage to each resonator. Ideally, you always want to have a lowly spirit bug on the field before you summon the Dino Rider. Why? Because it deals 600 damage to all resonators on the field, including your own. Basically, if you sack lowly bug from the 600 damage, this dinosaur gains swiftness. And combine it with something like optional possession, you can swing for 1600 flying and swiftness. So this is literally the only swiftness cards. The only reason I only run one of these cards is because I never actually want to draw this card. The more copies of this card I have in the deck, the more of a chance I run, of a risk I run into having it in my hand, and I cannot play it. This is a mono blue deck. Cannot play this deck. Sorry, this card. Okay, Master Feature has
This is a mono blue deck. I don't know if you guys have read the recent rulings, but you're not allowed to play a card deck that's all blue. You can't play this deck. This is a hypothetical deck. Okay, Nova is just
Okay, I can't play this card.
Oh, okay.
This is a mono blue deck, so I cannot play this card.
So what you're saying is everyone should run 3 of those cards.
Yes,
maybe
4.
even 4.
4. If you're gonna copy this deck, make sure you have 4 of these, and only one of these.
Hey, go over the runes. How about that, big guy?
Okay. Runes. First rune in there is Monstrify. Target resonator. It is a quick cast. Target resonator becomes a 900/900 until the end of its turn. So with something like this card, I'm gonna be going over a few little strategies that I have. If on turn 2, I've summoned this guy, the lonely little bug, on turn 1, mostly everybody, because it is a 100-100 will ignore it if you play this on turn 1. They'll be like, there's no point in me even swinging at it. It's just a body on the field. There's no point in me even swinging at it. So what I can actually do is, on turn 2, I can play for a cost of 1, play Monstrify, turn into a 900-900, and then if I have optional possession, I can play that. So I turn into an 1100 flying, and I swing for 1100 damage on turn 2. Kind of ridiculous. Yes, this is a one-time play, and you want to make sure you use it appropriately, but it is a big chunk of damage. And when you think about the fact you only have 4,000 health, it's significant.
That's a lot of damage.
It's a lot of damage. Next up is Petrification for a cost of 2. Resonators your opponent controls in order to recover during the control's next recovery phase. Ideally, you want to play this card before you actually summon Mossasaurus. Why? Is because rested resonators, you can target them. So they cannot play a quick cast to unrest a resonator. Or if they have too many resonators and they've swung with them, again, you can play this. Combined with any other card in this deck, you kind of be like, for example, you can be like, you know what, I'm going to return this to your hand. This guy cannot attack, blah, 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 blah. It's kind of ridiculous.
It's that you can't really do things deck.
Basically. Okay, we have one massive growth in the actual rune deck. When this card is in the rune deck, you only pay a cost of 1. It is still a quick cast. You produce 3, spend this only awakenings, and because it is a cost of 1, it's quite lovely to have. And ideally, if you do not have Loki flipped, for example, I can use this card in order to summon a dinosaur even cheaper. Or the way I use it a lot of times is to actually, for a cost of 1 and a cost of 1, I can actually summon Jormungandr, or however the heck you pronounce it.
They pronounce J's as Y's.
We'll just go with J. We'll just call it a J Dragon. I can summon the J Dragon with a total cost of 2. Invitation is our next card. Cost of 2. Search your deck for a card and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Ideally, I want to look for one of these if I haven't drawn any by turn 3. Or I want to look for any chant or spell ability that will help me prolong the game, kind of thing. Sometimes what I do search it out for, but not very often, it might be Lightning Cave. If I have not drawn any Lightning Caves and they have a lot of flying creatures, I may want to summon that. Lastly is Consume. Play this card, play this card along with your rulers. Loki, it costs of 3. Remove target resonator from the game. You gain life equal to its defense. Ideally, you want to use this card on the biggest creature they have on the field, and it is a quick cast. So again, increasing your own life and drawing out the game even further. That's pretty much all the cards right there, guys. And for now, once again, I will say thank you guys for the 600 subscribers. If you missed out the beginning of this video and kind of skipped across, once again, big, massive thank you from Nova and...
Really?
Fine, we won't say it. Nova and Nova.
I'm the talent of this channel and you don't remember my name?
You're supposed to say your own name.
That's what I have you for. You're the help.
Fine.
Master Feature. No. Stop. There are things that need to be said about this deck, and you are rushing, and you need to chill out. Take a seat.
Okay, I will
take a seat.
I will take a seat.
Oh, God.
We're going back to the nice, slowly spoken.
So, Nova made this phenomenal deck. I actually had absolutely nothing to do with making this deck aside from suggesting that he should only run one Dino Rider for obvious reasons. The important thing about this deck is that it's essentially the Loki trap deck. Okay, that's not why I called it that. It's the Loki trap deck. This is why. Okay,
you go
so
ahead.
Let's say that you've got Dino Rider onto the field, you use optional possession to make it stronger, it's got flying, whatever.
And
You're
swiftness.
attacking. You're attacking them. And swiftness, obviously. And they go like, oh, I'm gonna block you with a Bane creature. Or hey, I'm gonna block you with something and then you don't do whatever, 1600 or whatever damage. And you're like, it's a trap! And you play Shayla's Foresight.
Agreed.
You bring that shit back to their hand, okay?
Or Oh, actually, you can't play this
Or
because they're
let's say that you're playing against my Lucifer deck.
Yep.
Right, and I have that like super beefy vampire that hits for like 17 instances of drain and I gain like 300 life,
Which is ridiculous.
And I'm about to hit you, and you're like, nope, it's a trap, and you confinement me.
Yep.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say with this deck, guys, you know, we've got this as a trap. That's kind of a trap that people already see. This is a trap. This is a trap.
The way this deck works, this is an obvious trap, and they kind of get in their minds, okay, what the heck is going on with this deck? Right off the bat.
This is what sets off traps. This is a trap. This isn't a trap, but it's fun. This is a trap. These are all traps. The whole thing I'm trying to say with this deck...
This is the biggest trap, I would say, in my mind. It's hilarious.
Yes, well, I mean, dude, it's literally called lowly bug, but what it should be called is crazy, super beefed up militant bug that will eat your family. You know, like it's crazy big buff killer bug.
Yep.
The reason why I'm saying that this is a trap deck, other than, you know, it's a dude. Come on, this is a dude. Other than that, is that the deck can be really aggressive, the deck can be really stally, but you want the deck to be reactionary. So you're not doing this during your turn unless you want to get rid of blockers.
Exactly.
Right? You're doing this during their turn. You don't want to use this on like the really like dinky stuff. You want to wait for them to declare that one move that'll finish you off and you're like, nope, and you've got Remnant. So if you just bury this under a bunch of cards in your grave and you're like in the back of your head, oh yeah, I've got a fail-safe plan in case they go for that game-winning swing, you're already ready for that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So the deck can either be played super aggressive or stall, then reactionary, then swing to win. So you don't have to play it too aggressively. There's different play styles for this deck. It gives you different options.
And the nicest thing about this deck, before I forget, is the fact that you actually do not need to have Loki awakened.
No, that's
It's
a
a bonus. It is a bonus. It is a heavy bonus because on turn 4 you can swing with a freaking flying dinosaur, for example, right? Ideally, on turn 4 you want to play Dino Rider. Ideally. However, if let's say you have an oh shit moment and you can't play Dino Rider because for some weird reason he ends up in your hand, you know what?
For some weird reason called drawing, you might have heard of that.
If it ends up in your hand, you have possibilities. You can continually stall out the game. J-Dragon over here looks like it's a tiny little dragon, 400, but as long as he has a growth counter on it, it's actually 900.
Yeah.
And because of optional possession, you can turn into 1100 easily, give him first strike, give him flying, give him whatever you want, and then the big swingers. The benefit of the reason why I run so many of the big giant dinosaur fish is because they're heavy hitters, they don't have the best defense, however, they're heavy hitters, they have a lot of control, even if it's just targeting their stones, and I lost my train of thought there.
Okay, cool. Okay, guys, thanks for subscribing. Have a great time. Look forward to our future videos for stuff as the community grows, and I hope you guys are enjoying the new cluster as much as we are.
And before I forget, we are going to be doing more giveaways depending on how the previous one does. I think it's a nice way to give back to our community, and the only thing I have to say to that is